VGB R170C FBD editor. In this presentation I would like to show you how is it possible to create FBD logics from something what we call a transfer database. This transfer database is a relation between the typical name and the KKS, and behind this typical you will find several drawings. If you want to use this functionality, you need an engineering add-on which is called FBD Typical, and this FBD Typical tool could be started over the context of logi.DOC. When this tool is loaded, then you see here a project management similar to the project management of logi.DOC, and you see here something what we call a typical list. This typical list holds all typicals which are available to generate FBDs from these typicals. Additionally, you have the signal list, which gives you the possibility to modify and to edit and to add signals into the signal database of logi.DOC. If you want to create logics directly from this transfer database, you have to start the transfer function and you have to edit a transfer database. This transfer database holds the informations what I already explained. You see here this is the name of the KKS and this is the typical which is used to generate the logics. If you want to assign a typical to a KKS, then you see here this is the typical list, and this typical list helps you to do the assignment. If you want to create the logics from this small list, then you go to the context and you say generate the FBDs by typical, and you do the all function. In the generation you see a progress bar and you see a lot of diagnostic informations, but at the end you will get in logi.DOC directly the complete generated tree, including all document types. And here, for example, you see in YFT you see the drive what we had in our transfer list. Here you see the sequence what we had in our transfer list, and here you see this is the other drive what we had in our transfer list. Of course, all signals are generated, and when you click to one of these signals, then you see the already known cross-reference here, for example, from the sequence into the drive list. When we open the sequence, then you see we have 4 steps for the on sequence and we have 4 steps for the off sequence. This is the function group header, and when we go down, you see here we have the 4 steps for the on sequence, and here we have the 4 steps for the off sequence. Of course, it's possible to insert additional steps, but this will be shown in another presentation. If we want to interlock the drive with a sequence, then we have to open the drive, we have to open the signal list, and now we can say, okay, we want to have this drive on during the steps XS01.1, XS02 and so on. Therefore we have to have a little bit of space, and we can drag the signal from the signal list directly into the FBD. We can drop it and we can insert all 4 steps. When we insert an OR function, we can take it from here, we drag it into the FBD, we drop it, we extend the size like this, and we connect the OR block with the signals. If you want to connect the output of this OR block to the input of this block, then you can create something what we call a connector. For this reason you have to say right mouse key and you create a connector. This connector gives you the possibility, when you want to connect this point to the input of the block, you have to press the Shift and Control key and you have to drag it down, and now you see you can take this output and you can make a connection to this input. To get a reference from a connector sink, you have to press Shift and Control, and you have to make a drag operation to get the connector source. When we save this logic, now you have to add the modification informations, and of course when we close the editor, then you see here the automatically generated cross-references from the sequence into the drive. If you want to create a documentation from this, you can generate a documentation object, and you can drag now all informations from the project into this documentation object like this. You see all objects are inside of this documentation object, and now you can press 1, 2, 3 to get a documentation overview. This documentation overview shows you 7 pages, and you can directly go to the printout. When you send this printout to PDF Creator, you have to insert a name. When the PDF is generated, then you see here this is the logic cover page, the content sheet. You see this is the function group header for the sequence. You see these are the steps of the on sequence, the steps of the off sequence which are not used until now, and you see this is the drive, and here you see our OR functionality, and you see the connector, and you see here the cross references between the sequence and the drive block. You can close the documentation object, and of course now everything is saved. With FBD Typical you can of course now add additional typicals, additional relations, and you can regenerate additional logics from the extension of this typical database. To use FBD Typical you need a training. This training normally is up to 1 or 2 days. FBD Typical is an engineering tool, and the complete user interface is only available in English. If you have additional questions around FBD Typical, please contact us. You can be sure we will help you.